But let me offer you some advice that I wish someone had offered me before I had children, because I didn't know this, which is this. When you're traveling with your family, when you have children and you travel with said children through the airport, you can be randomly selected by TSA, who will suddenly decide to start peppering your children with questions to make sure that you are not kidnapping them. How fun's that? And I didn't know this was even a thing until it happened to my little family at Denver International Airport. We're traveling through the airport, ready to go. To give you an idea of my son Malcolm's desire to talk to strangers that day, let me explain to you his outfit. He was wearing headphones, not plugged into anything at all, fingerless gloves, and winter boots on a 95-degree day. I ask you, is that the outfit of a 3-year-old who'd like to dialogue with a stranger? I'd argue not. And yet, nevertheless, we're passing through security, and suddenly a TSA guy is in Malcolm's face. And he's just like, hey, son, what's your name? And Malcolm's like, Malcolm. He goes, okay, good. Is that your brother over there? He goes, yeah. He goes, what's your brother's name? He goes, Ellis. He goes, okay. Are those your parents? And Malcolm goes, I think so. Can you think of a worse answer than I think so? No is actually a better answer. No is like, it's an uncle, it's a godparent, produce some paperwork, get to the bottom of it. But I think so. That's what they've been telling me since they took me from the campsite 4 days ago. And when I say otherwise, they hit me so very hard. So I think so. And we were like, Malcolm, tell that dude we're your parents. What are you doing? Tell him we're your parents. And the guy's like, son, I'm gonna ask you one more time, and this is very important. Are those two your parents? And Malcolm goes, uh-huh. Like clearly under duress. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And then they just let us through because they're TSA and they're inept. TSA is like, hey, what if we took the crew of a Times Square McDonald's, put them in charge of global security? What's everybody think? Good idea or not? We get through the x-ray machine miraculously. I'm retrieving my bag, and this other dad who was in line, he came up to me and he goes, I'm not gonna lie, dude, that made me nervous. I go, made you nervous? If I don't get these two to Reno by Tuesday, I'm out $150K. That's my year, bud. That's my year. The exception to the rule of Malcolm's shyness is women. He likes talking to women. In fact, he'll only talk to women, which I so get. Men are the worst. If I had the option of never talking to a man again my entire life, I would take that option. But men keep talking to me, and it feels rude not to respond, so I have to engage. My son, he's under no such societal constraints. He can talk to whoever he wants to talk to, and he's decided that's only going to be women. So the other day, we were at the park, and we were playing Delivery Guys, because my son will only play working class games. Yeah. Delivery guys, firefighters, EMTs, construction workers. Some lets me know he doesn't respect what I do for a living at all. So we're playing Delivery Guys, and a woman comes running through the park, right where we're playing. She's got earbuds on, she's jogging, she's minding her own business, and my son Malcolm, he just goes, hey, you! Yeah, like real delivery guy energy, you know? Just cat calls her, "Hey, you!" And she stops and takes her earbuds out. She's like, yeah, yes? He goes, "We're delivery guys." She goes, "Oh, yeah?" He goes, "Yeah, my brother, my dad, me, we're delivery guys." And she goes, "Well, what are you delivering?" And he goes, "We're on a break." Like, I'm not pretending to know my son's eventual sexual preference, but if he ever decides that it is in fact women, he's already gaslighting at a high school level. Once he figures out that women love it when you tell him to smile more, he's gonna crush. And I can feel a lot of women in the room not liking where that joke went. But I set up the joke by saying men are the worst, and then I ended the joke by giving an example of men being the worst. So I ask you, is it the joke that you don't like, or do you just hate foreshadowing?
I hit a cop car with my car. I don't recommend doing that. I was driving home with my fiance. We were just a few blocks from home. We were passing by this cafe that I go to from time to time. I noticed it peripherally that they were open later than usual. So I turned my head like, oh, they're open later than usual. When I turned back, the words police were getting closer and closer. I rammed into the cop car's bumper, and my fiance, to her credit, didn't say anything, but I could just feel everything she was thinking. I was like, you're right. You're absolutely right about all of it. The cop car, we're at a light, the cop car turns off to a side street. So then I turn to my fiance, like, should we just get the hell out of here? Like, it's like, no, we can't do that. So then I turn and follow the cop and pull up behind him. Now all of a sudden it's like I'm pulling him over. It's like, maybe I work for the NYPD now. So then we're just sitting and waiting. Cop finally gets out, ambles over. First thing he says is, "Bad idea hitting a cop car." I was like, yeah, actually, it wasn't my idea. It just happened. Then he was kind of like pacing around. Like, remember when you were a kid and your parents were almost like searching for the punishment? They were beside themselves. So I'm waiting. Finally, he's like, "Fuck it, I don't want to deal with this." I was like, that was my solution. Then he goes, "You were never here," which I thought was almost existential. Like, are any of us ever really, truly here? Then he turns and walks back to his car. As he's about to get in, he turns back and says, "Oh, are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, we're fine. Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah." Gets into his car, drives away. I turn to my fiance and say, "I don't know what these black folks are complaining about. That could not have been a more pleasant exchange. I felt safe, I felt protected, I felt like my life mattered."
That was dark. Speaking of dark, I'm black. I'm black. My whole body's black. Y'all notice that? Except this part. Ain't that weird? This is weird. This is not black. This is very weird. I remember as a kid that they would ask me questions like, "Why you white on one side, black on the other?" I was like, I don't know. I guess I didn't fully hit my growth spurt. I don't know why it's... Works out though. Anytime I get pulled over, "Hey, officer, how was..." I understand you don't want to give me that loan. Before you say no, I just... No, it just comes in handy. So, that was stupid. That's what it deserved.
I wrote a joke a long time ago to try to shame myself into getting better shape, and it didn't take. I look exactly the same. I feel like I look okay from the front. I still feel good about my front profile look. Not as happy with the side. And for a long time, I didn't know what I looked like from the side. And then somebody took a picture of me when I was not wearing a shirt or sucking to my gut or aware that cameras were present. And that was a real eye-opener. That's when I realized that from the front, I look like a dude who lifts weights. From the side, I look like a dude who shouldn't, because it's probably bad for the baby. It's a little rough in the middle. Part of the problem is I do work out, but I don't work out very hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't like to go to hardcore gyms. I'm never gonna be a CrossFit guy. I'm more of a YMCA guy. 'Cause I feel good about myself there. Right? I'm a realist. A lot of happiness in life has to do with putting yourself in favorable matchup situations. If I go to Gould gym or somewhere, I'm average at best. Right? YMCA, I dominate. My favorite gym I've ever worked out at was this old YMCA in Santa Monica, California. Nothing had been renovated there for probably 40 years, including most of the other members. It was like a nursing home gym. Those seniors respected my feats of strength. And they came from a classier generation that's quick to compliment, and I like all of that very, very much. Like a random ego stroke. One time I was doing the tricep press down, and this little old lady, Connie, was patiently waiting her turn, like a decent person. And then when she went to use the machine, she forgot to move the pin to a lighter weight, and she just kind of struggled for quite some time. And then she figured out what happened, and she turned to me and she goes, "My goodness, you just lifted that." "Well, aren't you strong?" "I couldn't even move it." And I thought that was adorable. I also thought, of course you couldn't move it, Connie. Look at yourself. Like 90 pounds, old bird bones, paper mache. Are you kidding me, Con? I'm pre-gaming on creatine, whey protein shakes. You look like you're getting ready on hard candy and formaldehyde. Why don't you look at that fan, Connie? Look at it. I turn that fan to high, you're stuck to that wall. This is my gym, Connie! Part of the problem, it's not being in great shape, is my nutrition program. It's not great. I live in a house full of a lot of mixed nutritional signals. My wife, she says she wants me to eat better, my wife Lindsay, but I don't necessarily believe it. Because her actions don't go along with her words. She'll say she wants me to eat healthier, but then she bakes me delicious treats. Because she loves me through food. I think it's competing instincts inside of her. Part of her does want me to, eat really well so I can live a long time and she doesn't have to die alone. But another part of her wants to fatten me up just enough so that no other woman will ever want me. Because that makes her feel secure and safe. But she'll do this ridiculous thing where she'll make my favorite treat. Like she'll make me chocolate chip cookies with like little walnut chunks, and then I'll start to eat them and she'll be like, "Dan, what are you doing? How many of those are you going to have today?" I was going for all of them. "I'm sorry, I thought these were delicious cookies. I didn't realize you had baked me shame biscuits and guilt wafers."
I think about having kids. I do. I'm 37. I could have kids. I think about it. Until literally every time I call my brother, who has 3 boys under the age of 12. Yeah. Every time I call him, 30 seconds into our phone call, his entire life turns into the back half of the film Point Break. We'll just be chatting along, and then out of nowhere, he's like, "1 second, what's in your hands? Show me those hands! Fuck, one's on the roof, one's on the roof. Where'd you get a Nixon mask? That joke does better if you've seen Point Break. I think it's crazy how quickly in life we separate children on whether or not they have a chance at life. We do. You may be like, "What do you mean?" What I mean is reading groups. That's when there's 6 and we're like, "Split them up. These are the maybes and these are just keep them busy." But they don't say like which one's the smart group and which one's the dumb group. They're cute with it. They're like, you're the red group and you're the blue group. But even at 6, you know. You're like, shit. My group loves glue. We can't get enough of this stuff. We're doing like glue charcuterie, you know? Like, why don't you take the glue stick, dip it in some wet cement? Yeah, it freaking rocks, okay? Maybe we should read a little bit. And they're like, we would, but remember how last reading we glued all the books shut? Damn it. We did, and it rocked. It was fun. I remember one time, our teacher went to split it up. She's like, red group over here, blue group over here. And my buddy was like, we're not the blue group, we're the glue group, right? And I was like, no. We shouldn't be proud of what we're doing. We should be ashamed. This story is just dedicated to the fallen brothers of the glue group. A lot of them aren't here anymore. Yeah, they blew up a lot of garages. Yeah. They went out doing what they did best, guys. Just not reading instructions at all.
You know, mothers are truly incredible. She's on top of everything before it's ever a problem. She told me this. She's like, I got this app. I want to be ready when our boys start using a computer. I'm like, they're 9 months old and 3 years old. Do we need this? She's like, we need this. She's like, this app will let us know any website they visit, even if they delete something in their search history. I'm like, do we need this? She pushes a button, up pops up a bunch of adult sites, recently visited on her home computer. And my wife was mad, very mad. And I was like, let me talk to them. These kids are disgusting.
I miss sarcasm. I feel like people on the East Coast are a lot more sarcastic than they are around here. You guys have a good sense of humor, but it's not the same. I look for it in people. I remember when we were moving out of our last apartment into our new apartment, my wife goes to the movers, which are just 3 giant Russian guys. She goes, we need to be out of this place and into our new place in 3 hours. Could we do that? What do you think about that? That's how much money we have. And one of the Russian guys goes to the other Russian guy. He goes, 3 hours. Maybe if magic happens. And I was like, good. That is good. I love knowing that guy has maybe 6 phrases in his back pocket to survive in a new country. And one of them is, maybe if a magic were to happen.
You could be any witness that you want to be. I started doing comedy in Ohio when I first started. My friends and I, you're always a broke person as a comedian, looking for ways to make money. Well, my one friend told me about this thing where you can sue somebody on court television, and the court show actually pays whoever wins, and it doesn't go on anybody's record. So we started just making up cases to sue each other, and then just split the money and make sure the plaintiff wins. I was a witness on Judge Alex. My team won, and I'm glad we won because I needed the money at the time.
Man, I'm just glad we got this money. I needed the money so bad. I'm broke. I have 3 frozen hamburgers at home. I can't afford to buy toothpaste.
You could be any plaintiff that you want to be. I was on Judge Joe Brown as a plaintiff. You can be any defendant that you want to be. I was on Judge Alex again as a defendant. I went a few years later. I used my middle name to slip past the producers. And this one I played a promoter. I was supposed to promote my friend's Battle of the Beards contest, and I kind of just blew him off and didn't do anything. And when I got to court, I really didn't have much of a defense at all either. And Judge Alex was not impressed with me.
To me, I just think communication was failed.
Communication was failed?
I agree.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. I just think it was just a misunderstanding, and I don't understand why it's got to be like this.
How much weed do you smoke?
All right. You could be any journalist that you want to be. This is a company called Monet. They're a multi-level marketing company, AKA a pyramid scheme, where the only people who make money that work for them are the people at the top of the pyramid, all the executives. Everyone else just ends up wasting a bunch of time or losing money, actually. In addition to being one of these companies, they're also been known for making people lose their hair. Yeah, they have like skin products that were making people lose their hair. So I emailed them and pretended to be a reporter from a newspaper I made up called the Coloradoan Times. Signed, my name is Jackie Jones. I emailed them a meme I made of their CEO. I photoshopped him bald and said, if you like the Vin Diesel look, you should try our hair products because they'll make you bald. They wrote back and said, it's absolutely, unequivocally not from their CEO. So I said, okay, we'll make note that he didn't say anything about Vin Diesel. However, we do have something Vin Diesel said about him. I said, we can share that with you too before we run our story. They're like, yes, we absolutely want to see that story and quote before you run it. So I was like, okay, yes, this is directly from Vin's reps. I've relied on Monat to keep me bald for years. So after this email, the next email I got was from their lawyers. And they sent me a multi-page demand letter. It mentioned Vin Diesel like 6 times. And they said that you can tell it's not their CEO by a simple Google search. They said if Jackie or the Coloradoan Times publishes this, they'll take swift legal action. And then they gave me a deadline to confirm that I won't publish this. And then they said if you have any questions or want to address this issue further, please contact us or have your attorney do so. So I had my attorney do so. I wrote them and said, on January 28th, 2021, you threatened to take swift legal action. I'm reaching out to inform you that if you take any legal action against Jackie or the Coloradoan Times, even just a tiny hair of legal action, I'll respond by photoshopping every Monad executive bald. These photos will be posted on the internet and made easily accessible by a simple Google search. In addition, I'll get in touch with every bald celebrity to ask them if they'd be interested in promoting Monat, and that list includes, but is not limited to, Pitbull, Charles Barkley, Samuel L. Jackson, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Larry David, Seal, Terry Crews, and the Dalai Lama. You have until Friday, January 29th, 2021 at 8:59 a.m. Mountain Standard Time to read this email. That time has already passed. If you have any questions or wish to address this issue further, please do not hesitate to contact a Jones. Sincerely, Jackie Jones. Jones, Jones & Jones, LLC, attorneys at law. You mess with Jones, you get the Jones. So I shared this online, and someone saw it, I guess, and then they sent me a link to a Zoom party that all of the executives, all the people at the top of the pyramid at Monat were having together. So I joined as Trey Angle, and it got a little awkward in there.
And I see one face I don't recognize. Who is Mr. Angle?
Hey, I'm Trey.
And they removed Trey from the meeting. So I tried rejoining. I changed my name really quick and tried to rejoin, and they let me back in. So I was able to say,
You mess with the Jones, you get the Jones.
You could be anything.
I know a big thing a lot of people are looking for is how to get out of jury duty. I figured out what works for me. Just be myself. Just be honest. I got called in for jury duty years ago down in Los Angeles, and I was frustrated because I had a bunch of tour dates. I was going to miss them. You know, the trial would have been long, so I sent in a little letter asking to be dismissed, and they didn't care. And they made me come in there, so I'm pretty irritated when I get there. I'm worried about getting stuck on this long, trial. Had nothing to worry about. Turns out all I had to do was just, be myself, honestly answer their questions. And they wanted nothing to do with me. When I got there, I figured out you can ask for another form to be dismissed. And the last question on that form is super direct. It just says, do you think you would make a fair juror? And I was just honest, and I wrote, no. I'm a comic. I get paid to make quick judgments and stick to them. And that's probably what I'm going to do in your court. Which is kind of true. I kind of trust my gut. And I thought that would get me dismissed. No, it didn't. I get stuck in a little jury selection pool. Now the defense attorney is asking me questions in front of the defendant, which is always awkward that he's in the room. We're just talking about him like he's not there. And the judge told us this guy had just served, 4 years for the attempted murder. He's just been released for the attempted murder of a rival gang member. Now he's being charged with murdering a different rival gang member. So in my head, I'm like, great, I'm in a room with somebody, definitely getting better at murder. And I thought that because when I saw him, I thought, yeah, he did it. For sure, that's a murderer right there. I thought he was guilty the second I saw him. I still do to this day. I'll tell you why. He had a lot of gang tattoos covering about half his face. Face, that's a commitment. To have gang tattoos. Not just tattoos, gang tattoos. Probably half. Half his face covered in gang tattoos. And look, I do realize having gang tattoos all over your face does not make you a murderer. Unless you're charged with murder. Then it absolutely probably does. The defense attorney, he read my answer to that last question about, making quick judgments. And I wrote that as a comic, so I think he thought I was joking. And he goes, have you made any judgments here so far? And I was not joking, and I go, yeah. I think he did it. It was so uncomfortable, I had to point at him as he stared back at me. With his tattooed murder face, probably memorizing features. And he says, you can't know that. You've heard literally no evidence. And I just said, look at his face. Everybody thinks he did it. And when I said that, I heard some snickering from the other potential jurors. I looked over, I counted at least 2 little sneaky thumbs up. They wanted to show their support, but not get in trouble with the judge. I had a hot crowd, I was killing in the courtroom. I wanted to put on a good show. And he says if the police, or if the prosecution doesn't provide enough evidence to prove him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, you have to find him not guilty. That's his words, you have to. And I just said, no, I don't. I don't have to. I make bad decisions all the time. I could make one here. And he said that would be illegal, and I got nervous. Because I watch a lot of crime shows, but I still don't fully understand what contempt of court means. But I felt like I was treading in that direction. And then I thought, well, you've come this far, let's write it out. I was like, I don't know, maybe it is illegal. You're a lawyer. You know the law better than I do. Well, I'll tell you this. Just like bad decisions, I do illegal stuff all the time, and I usually get away with it. I was texting about how much I didn't want to be here the whole time I drove here today, and no one pulled me over, did they? And he just shook his head, talked to the judge, and 2 minutes later, I was walking to my car, a free man. The truth had set me free.
Any Chinese people in the crowd? Any Chinese? 中国人吗？你们是中国人吗？你是中国人吗？
I'm from Australia, mate.
Oh, you're from Australia. Okay. 我说中文你会听得懂吗？
一点点。
一点点，哇，挺好。那我跟你说中文，你就跟我说中文，没关系。你父母是哪里的？
中国人。
哦，中国人，中国哪里？ Oh, Shanghai. 哇，挺好。哇。Don't worry, they get uncomfortable. The crowd get uncomfortable because I'm prepared for the future and they are not. So it's difficult. Also, can you please verify that I was actually speaking Chinese? Because I know some people are like, oh my God, I saw the most racist thing yesterday. This white guy was on stage, he was like, any Chinese people? And then he chung-chung-ching this guy at the second table. I was like, fuck, cancel this guy already. Like, oh my God. Cancel him, seriously.
I'll just get this out of the way. I am aware of my accent as well. I don't need you guys just staring at me, being like, where's it come from? Because that happens every show I do. The first 5 minutes, they won't let me be a person with thoughts. It's just a guessing game. They're like, is it Texas? No. Mississippi? I'm like, don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. I just tell them, Tennessee. I'm from Tennessee. Every time I'm like, oh, you like a redneck? I'm like, absolutely not. It's highly offensive what you just said. Then they're like, you like a hillbilly? I relate. But if you meet an actual hillbilly, you have made a terrible mistake. You need to get off their property. They don't like that. That's like their only rule. Get! Oh, he said get with an I. Go, go. I get it. They also want to know too, like, especially people that never been to the South, fascinated, like, what's the South really like? What's it really like? I'm like, well, it's probably like 8 or 10 of the coolest cities, full of the coolest people, very just unique and just a meld of different human beings and cultures. It's amazing, and the rest of it is exactly what you've heard. But more intense than you can imagine. And then they're always like, well, what's the worst part of the South? I'm like, Alabama, before you finish that question. You guys know, all right. And they're always, every time though, they're always like, well, what about Mississippi? I'm like, that's not their fault. Historically, the worst education system in our country since the start. They don't know any better. In Alabama, they know better. They just don't give a shit. That got applause in Birmingham. It's not what I was going for. I was trying to shame them. And they were like, that's us. Yeah. Roll Tide. I know how the accent sounds. I'm aware. It sounds dumb. I get it. It's a scam we're all running. People think we're way dumber than we actually are. It's the opposite of the British accent. Think about it. Yeah, they sound smart, but if you listen, you're like, oh, you're dumb as hell. I get it. There's certain words I shouldn't say. Makes people uncomfortable. Like, my wife is Jewish. Just saying that, people are like, hey, easy. Careful. I'm like, what? I married a Jew. People are like, I know you can't say that. Like, you can't say that. We just had a baby. I made a Jew. People are like, I gotta get out of here. He's trying to get people fired. Don't go over there. I did. I made a Jew, you guys. You can applaud. That's cool. It would have been weird if you kind of applauded and then didn't. You guys came through. I didn't know growing up I could make a Jew. I didn't know. But I can, and I did. Pretty cool. What happened was my wife is Jewish, and her vagina also Jewish. And the baby came out of there, Jew. It's science. And religion, I think. I don't understand. It's confusing. I don't ask a lot of questions. But he's got blonde hair and blue eyes. I Nazi-proof that son of a bitch. You can laugh out loud. That's a good thing I did. You guys can enjoy yourself here at the comedy show. Feel free. That joke 3 or 4 years ago was just historically funny, and then it got relevant again. I'm just saying, I did not see them making a comeback. I didn't. Fascinating. 3 or 4 years ago, people laughed and like, that's funny. Now people laugh and like, that's good you did that. I get this question a lot because I sound like I do and then I say the stuff I do. How'd you get that way? It's confusing. You sound, like you sound, but the stuff you say is not from where you're from. Like, I had to evaluate it, and it's like, I think it's because my parents are pretty cool people. Like, my dad's a football coach and teacher. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I called him before he retired like a couple years ago. I was like, hey man, what do you do during the day? He's like, you need to mind your own business is what you need to do. Yes, sir, coach. My mom's an English teacher and a maniac. That's what she does. Sure, her name is Storm. Yeah, that's weird, right? I was in my 20s before I was like, that is weird. Because when you're little, you're just like, I guess everyone's mom's named after an American gladiator. That's how it is. That's Steven's mom, Laser. I lived in Seattle for a while, and they came to visit my parents. And there's a WNBA team there named the Seattle Storm. And I was like, is there anything you guys want to do while you're here? Like anything special? And my mom was like, I want to go see that Seattle Storm play. And I was like, why? She's like, because their name's, I hate you so much. Smart ass. I was like, professional smart ass. I had no interest in going in the game, and my dad was like, I like fundamental basketball. You gotta listen to him, he's kind of mean. So I got them tickets, they went to the game, they came back. My dad walked past me like nothing happened. I was like, hey mom, what's going on, how was the game? It was great, I think I might be homophobic. What happened at the game? She's like, well, they were great seats. Thank you so much. We're down close, and action started happening. We were having fun, and then there was like a timeout, and then there were a lot of lesbians there. I was like, you don't have to whisper that word. That's their preferred word. She said, okay. Well, there are a lot of, I can't not whisper it. I don't know why. I was like, okay, there are a lot of lesbians there, Mom, yeah. And she was like, yeah, and then when there's the timeout, they'd all start making out and like their tongues going everywhere. I was like, oh, I don't like this. I was like, huh. Well, if there had been a bunch of straight couples there making out during the timeout, would that have bothered you? Yes. Stop making me see your tongue in public. I don't like that. I'm like, oh, Mom, you don't like public displays of affection, PDA. You're not homophobic. And she was like, oh, thank God. It's in there. I didn't like it, but it was in there, you know? And that was the moment where I was like, oh, this is how I am the way I am. Because my neurotic mother, my whole life, has been like, have you worried about something that doesn't exist and can't happen yet? She go worry about that.
Living in Philadelphia means I have mice in my home. It comes with the deed. And on the lease, it's my wife and I and 17 mice. You're gonna roll your eyes at this, but my wife and I were animal lovers, so we don't have the traps that kill the mice. Thank you. But we have the traps that trap the mice, and then you drive them 7.5 miles away because apparently someone drove them 7 and they came back. One of the most degrading trial and error situations, I would imagine. So you rehome them. You rehome the mice. That's what you do. And it's weird. I've been working my entire life to become a professional stand-up comedian, and now it turns out I'm just an Uber for varmints. That's what I put on my taxes. Uber for varmints. I have 20,000 dependents spread throughout the city. They say it's the humane thing to do, though, not to kill them. What they don't tell you is how weird you look when you drive into a random neighborhood, get out of your car, and then just release mice into it. Be free! I did the other day while a school was getting out, and this little girl turns to her dad, and she goes, "Oh my God, Daddy, is that a wizard?" Because no, he's more of a male witch if you get to know him, actually. That's more of his vibe. I've been going down to this place called the Jersey Shore a lot since I moved back to the East Coast. If you don't know what it is, it's like the beach where people from Philly and New York go. And there's a place in particular that I've been going. It's called Ocean City, New Jersey. And yes. And I've been going, like, that's going to have to be cut out, what I just did. We can't have it. They blur it out, you know, it's so humiliating. Like, my apologies to the editor of this special. I apologize. So I've been going down to Ocean City, New Jersey a lot, and they had this issue where this is a real thing. Seagulls were dive bombing people on the boardwalk, and they were knocking food out of their hands and knocking hats off ladies' heads. So the local government in Ocean City, New Jersey, their solution to this, after much deliberation, was to hire a birds of prey company to release hawks into the air to go to war with the seabirds. What the f***? That was your solution? And one of my favorite things to witness in life is this thing that I call the I f***ed up at work walk, where you messed up at your job and you have to tell your boss, and you're not going to get fired, but he's going to be a real piece of about it. So you're kind of just trudging, you know, like you're bummed out. And I saw a guy doing that on the boardwalk, and I will paint a colorful description as to what this man looked like. In his one hand, he had a little hood. How little? You might be wondering? A hood so little it would fit perfectly on a hawk's head. And on his other hand, he had a big, scary, thick leather glove going up to his shoulder. And this next part, I feel like I actually don't have to say because you're probably already picturing it in your head, but just in case I'm missing some people, long gray ponytail down his back. You saw it? You saw it. We all saw it. And this guy's trudging, and he goes up to his boss, who looked exactly like him, except his long gray ponytail was like 6 inches longer, you know, to show rank. Excuse me. And our first guy, he goes up to his boss and goes, "I messed up!" And his boss goes, "What happened?" And he goes, "I lost the bird!" And his boss goes, how do you lose a bird? And I go, may I interject? It's a bird. I would imagine, is it the wings? Did it use its wings? Its God-given wings? Oh, okay, it flew away, you idiot. That's how. I'm not a business expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I would imagine part of the risk assessment when you open up a hawk company. Some of them are gonna fly away. They're gonna fly away. Hey, you lose a bird. Oh my God, it hit me over the head with a fish, stole my iPhone, hailed an Uber, and drove away.
And you know, I have 4 older brothers, okay? 3 of my older brothers, super fun, life of the party. One of my older brothers, kind of a hard ass, bit of a bully. When we were kids, he would beat us more than our parents. That's just wrong. Now, guess which one of my brothers became a cop? So I called him by accident. You ever call the wrong sibling? Hello? Now I gotta think of something to say. So like, well, kids. He has kids, I have kids. We get that out of the way, 5 minutes. Hey man, what's going on? Just checking in, seeing how you doing, you know. Just got Nellie, that's my youngest daughter. Just got Nellie your last set of vaccinations, so she's all caught up. Yeah, we're not gonna be doing that around here. We're gonna keep our DNA intact. Now, my brother knows my daughter is adopted. I have 3 daughters. They're all from China because I'm terrified of my DNA. And I'm sorry, I don't understand how it can be in this day and age that an educated person can be against something as fundamentally beneficial as a vaccine. And then it hit me. You know why they're against it? Because other people are for it. The end. That's it. You just have to be for something, and they'll show up. It's all they have. It's what they do. Go online tomorrow morning and just quietly post, I like French toast. Check back in 20 minutes. French toast! Breakfast of the privileged? What else do you like for breakfast? Genocide? Where do you work? But his reasoning drives me crazy. I ain't getting vaccinated. I don't know how it works. Right. That's why we went out and got some people smarter than you. So we can have fun stuff like open heart surgery and airplanes. I don't know how zippers work. But every morning I put my faith in the science. Leave the house fairly certain I'm not going to be in line at the bank with my out. It all comes down to fear. It's just fear. I'm afraid I'm going to get sick, so I want everything you have. I want pills, I want shots, I want surgery, I want everything you can give me. But my brother, he's much smarter than I am. He's an independent thinker. He thinks what all the other independent thinkers think. That the government, the same people in charge of the post office and the DMV, are also behind a massive global genetic super conspiracy that I will believe when I can buy one stamp in under 45 minutes.